The story of Judas Iscariot is one of the most complex and intriguing tales in the Bible. As one of the 12 disciples of Jesus Christ, Judas played a pivotal role in the events that led to the crucifixion of the Messiah. However, the true nature of Judas' actions and the aftermath of his betrayal have long been debated and shrouded in mystery. Let us begin by revisiting the fateful events that led to Judas' betrayal of Jesus. The Gospels describe Judas as one of the 12 disciples chosen by Jesus to be his closest followers and companions. Judas was entrusted with the task of managing the group's finances, a position that seemed to suggest Jesus' trust in him. However, as the ministry of Jesus gained momentum and his teachings began to challenge the established religious and political order, tensions began to mount. The Jewish religious authorities, threatened by Jesus' growing influence, sought a way to arrest and silence him. It was at this crucial juncture that Judas, for reasons that have long been debated, agreed to betray his teacher to the authorities. The Gospels recount that Judas approached the chief priests and offered to hand over Jesus in exchange for a sum of money, typically reported as 30 pieces of silver. This act of betrayal set in motion the events that would ultimately lead to the arrest, trial, and crucifixion of Jesus. But what motivated Judas to turn against the man he had followed and served for years? Scholars have proposed various theories, ranging from Judas' desire for political power and influence to his disillusionment with Jesus' teachings and the perceived lack of a definitive plan to overthrow the Roman occupation. Some have even suggested that Judas may have been acting under the influence of demonic forces, manipulated into betraying his teacher. Regardless of the underlying reasons, the consequences of Judas' actions were profound. Jesus was arrested, put on trial, and ultimately sentenced to death by crucifixion. The betrayal of Judas played a central role in the events that led to the death of the Messiah, a pivotal moment in the Christian faith. However, the story of Judas does not end with the crucifixion of Jesus. In fact, the aftermath of Judas' betrayal is equally, if not more, fascinating and complex. The Gospels provide conflicting accounts of what happened to Judas after he handed over Jesus to the authorities. According to the Gospel of Matthew, Judas, overcome with remorse and guilt, returned the 30 pieces of silver to the chief priests and elders, declaring, "I have sinned by betraying innocent blood." Unable to bear the weight of his actions, Judas then went out and hanged himself. In contrast, the book of Acts, written by the Apostle Luke, offers a different account. Here, it is stated that Judas acquired a field with the money he received from the chief priests and then fell headlong, bursting open and spilling out all his intestines. These conflicting narratives have led to a myriad of interpretations and speculations about the final moments of Judas' life. Some scholars have suggested that the two accounts may not be mutually exclusive, and that Judas may have first hanged himself, only for the rope to break, leading to his gruesome demise in the field. But the story of Judas does not end there. The fate of the 30 pieces of silver he received for his betrayal has also been a subject of intense scrutiny and debate. According to the Gospel of Matthew, the chief priests, unwilling to place the blood money in the temple treasury, used it to purchase a field known as the Field of Blood, a burial ground for foreigners. This curious detail has led to a variety of interpretations and theories. Some scholars have suggested that the Field of Blood may have been a symbolic location, representing the blood of Jesus that Judas' betrayal had helped to spill. Others have proposed that the field may have been used as a place to bury those who had committed suicide, a fate that some believe Judas may have suffered. The aftermath of Judas' betrayal also had a profound impact on the remaining disciples of Jesus. The Gospel of Acts recounts that the disciples, now without Judas, gathered to select a replacement for him, eventually choosing Matthias to fill the vacant position. This decision highlights the important role that Judas had played within the inner circle of Jesus' followers. His absence left a void that needed to be filled, and the disciples understood the significance of maintaining the symbolic number of 12, a number that held deep theological meaning. But the repercussions of Judas' actions went beyond the immediate circle of Jesus' disciples. The betrayal of the Messiah by one of his own followers had a lasting impact on the early Christian community and the development of the faith. The figure of Judas Iscariot has become a symbol of treachery, greed, and the consequences of succumbing to temptation. Throughout history, Judas has been the subject of intense scrutiny, with theologians, scholars, and artists grappling with the complexities of his character and the meaning of his actions. Some have interpreted Judas' betrayal as a necessary part of God's plan for the salvation of humanity, a tragic but essential component of the divine narrative. Others have viewed Judas as a victim of his own flaws and weaknesses, a cautionary tale of the dangers of unchecked ambition and the corrosive power of sin. In the centuries following the life of Jesus, the image of Judas has been shaped and reshaped by various religious and cultural traditions. In some representations, Judas is depicted as a cold, calculated traitor, while in others, he is portrayed as a complex, even sympathetic figure, driven by a mix of motives and emotions. The legacy of Judas Iscariot has also been reflected in art, literature, and popular culture. From Dante's Divine Comedy, where Judas is consigned to the lowest circle of hell, to the various depictions of the betrayal in religious art, the figure of Judas has continued to captivate and haunt the collective imagination. In modern times, the story of Judas has taken on new relevance and interpretations. Some scholars have suggested that Judas may have been acting under the direction of Jesus himself, fulfilling a necessary role in the divine plan. Others have explored the possibility that Judas may have been a victim of circumstance, caught in the crosshairs of larger political and religious forces beyond his control. Regardless of the various interpretations and theories that have emerged over the centuries, the story of Judas Iscariot remains a powerful and enduring part of the Christian tradition. It continues to provoke deep reflection on the nature of human nature, the complexities of faith, and the consequences of our choices. As we delve deeper into the life and legacy of Judas, we are confronted with the fundamental questions that have plagued humanity for millennia. What drives individuals to betray those they once held dear? How do we reconcile the coexistence of good and evil within the human experience? And what can we learn from the tragic fate of Judas Iscariot that can inform our own spiritual and moral journey? These are the questions that have captivated scholars, theologians, and believers alike, and it is in grappling with these complexities that we can begin to unravel the true story of Judas Iscariot and the profound impact his actions had on the course of Christian history. In the end, the legacy of Judas Iscariot serves as a cautionary tale, a reminder of the fragility of human nature and the weight of our choices. It is a story that challenges us to confront the darkest corners of our own souls, to understand the seductive power of temptation, and to ultimately find the strength to resist the lure of betrayal, no matter the cost. As we continue to explore the life and legacy of Judas Iscariot, let us approach this complex and multifaceted story with an open mind and a willingness to grapple with the profound questions it raises. For in doing so, we may uncover not only the true nature of Judas' actions, but also the deeper truths that lie at the heart of the human experience.